Ladies and gentlemen, you are in Kagekaze's channel, and this is another playthrough for Diablo 3. We are now at the 5th and the final class, the Witch Doctor. Now, I'm not entirely sure what to think about this class yet, haven't looked too much into him, but there's a lot of potential here. He has some pet summoning skills, which may make him a surprise hit for me, since I do like the Necromancer and pet classes. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the fray, Hexmaster Ghaast. Alright, I went ahead and took some of the gear off of my monk to go ahead and start this character, even though I haven't fully maxed out my monk just yet.
The air is heavy with death. The fallen star is near.
Alright, so this class plays a lot like the Diablo 2 classes, because it is the one class that actually has mana. So you can see I actually have a fairly deep pull here, 300 mana. Let's go ahead and look at my resource system so we can kind of see where it sits. 300 maximum mana with 60 mana per second returned. So a decent return, at least for now. We'll have to see how that goes later as the mana pool goes up, whereas other classes, their resource pools typically stayed the same. We'll have to see if it does change, like Diablo 2 did. Let's go ahead and take a look at our skills first. We only start with one, like usual. We have Poison Dart for 60 mana. Shoot a deadly poison dart. It does 100% weapon damage on the initial hit and additional 80% over 2 seconds. So much like many of the starting abilities, you're going to go ahead and get your 100% damage right away. Only this has much more potential to do 180% weapon damage in one hit because of the poison. You just have to wait out the 2 seconds. Chances are you'll probably end up hitting the mob again with that ability. As you can see here, we start off with a nice ceremonial dagger. Being a casting class, though, I'd prefer not to get that close. There you go, see the poison tick down, and he's dead.
The spirits tell me, go, seek the cradle of the fallen star. And so, I am here.
It fell on the old cathedral. There was only one survivor, Leah. You should speak with her.
Captain Rumford, more dead are coming.
We can't open the gates until we drive them back.
They keep coming.
I've never seen anyone fight like that before. Guards, open the gates. You'll find Leah at the Slaughtered Calf Inn.
The one thing I did not do for this class that I did for others was craft a weapon, as I hadn't really farmed for materials recently. I'm not really sure if there's much that I can actually make right now. So let's see what we can equip. Yeah, see, nothing here. It would have to be later. So I might worry about that at another time. Let's go ahead and get what I can. I did keep a Wonga doll. Okay, let's go ahead and get this +3 experience bracer on. Don't really see a change there. That's quite alright. 1 to 2 damage, so that's nice, plus magic find. There you go, you can only see it when I attack, but here he's holding his doll. You'd think that they would make that more prominent. Well, let's go ahead and get to killing.
You are Leah. The captain says you survived the fallen star.
I did, but it blasted my uncle Deckard Kane into the depths of the old cathedral. I tried to search for him, but the dead were already rising. I came back here to rally the militia, but
Watch out! The wounded are turning!
I grow in power.
This is killing business.
the dead will overwhelm us all unless something is done.
There is a deep sickness here, but it can be healed.
Thank you. You should speak with Captain Rumford at the gate. He can tell you what to do.
Alright, new skill and 2 new abilities. We have Plague of Toads, 78 mana, handful of toads explode on contact. which actually does about 150 weapon damage as poison. And you notice it doesn't say over time, so it's probably an instant burst, but it can be affected by poison resistance. And then we have Zombie Dogs, 65 mana, cooldown of a minute, but it summons 3 dogs to fight for you by your side. They each do 15% weapon damage. So about 45% weapon damage if all 3 hit the same target at once. And it's different monsters to attack the enemy for you and absorb hits. So very much like the Necromancer, not requiring bodies to create them though. It's kind of a difficult decision here, as I do like pets. But you know what we might do here, since this has poison all at once, or this does poison over time. Let's do this. Let's do Plague of Toads and the Zombie Dogs. Let's go get the lore book to go ahead and get some experience on this character.
We've been under siege for 6 days now. Uncle Deckard is still missing. Captain Rumford and the others are losing hope. I tell them not to lose faith, but if help doesn't arrive soon...
Just wanted to check here to notice that the blacksmith's book is not here, so apparently you either need to get to a certain point in the storyline, or, well, that would probably be it. Get to a certain point in the storyline before you'll finally start seeing the backstory for this character.
Don't you dare lift a finger to help.
Please, move your cart. I wish to pass.
How dare you speak to me like that? I am the mayor of this town.
Why are you trying to leave?
Are you mad? This town is doomed. Anyone with a grain of sense should be trying to get out. Will you help me or not?
I will not. This town needs us both. Consider this fact carefully.
Seems to be the most friendly character, the most rational, honestly. Was fairly nice even to that guy here.
How can I help to fight the risen dead?
I admire your courage, but Captain Dalton and the militia were slaughtered by those things. Only I survived.
Their sacrifice saved their people. I will honor it.
Well, I have seen you fight. Strike at the wretched mothers and their queen. They're the ones vomiting out these horrors.
They're attacking the barricades!
Eat toads!
That's one of the wretched mothers. There are more of them in the ruins down the road.
As you can see, health globes will also heal up my pets. Very nice. Put some pants on. Okay, those aren't really pants, but that's okay. Better pants. That are, well, still not really pants. So Plague of Toads, much like the Shock Pulse ability of the wizard, not really hitting in a straight line, kind of random. Changes direction in the middle of its path. Seems more suited for large groups. As you can see, hitting an individual target is really not that easy with this. So that being the case, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and back to the poison dart and keep the zombie dogs. Stab, stab, stab! From Hell's Heart, I stab at thee.
Not ready yet.
I seem to run into this damp cellar a lot of my playthroughs. So one thing that is nice with multiple targets and this blowgun is I can hit one, let the poison damage tick while I hit another one. I don't have to try and kill one at a time. Let the poison damage do its thing. And of course the zombie dogs are out there just wrecking whatever havoc they can.
While exploring a cave with hopes of finding hidden treasure, I came upon a most grisly sight. A heap of dead bodies. Unbelievably, as I was searching them for any items of value, they began to rise. I must tell them of this in New Tristram before it's too late.
Alright, we leveled by, once again, reading. Very important that you read. What I'm going to do is replace the zombie dogs for this one. This is Grasp of the Dead. Has an 8-second cooldown, costs 21 mana. Hands from the ground, slow enemy movement speed. They slow enemy movement speed by 50%, but they also deal 48% weapon damage per second as physical over 8 seconds. So not that bad. 48 damage per second is decent, but obviously not going to kill very quickly. More suited for a group or a very strong single target in conjunction with your other abilities. So part of what I'm noticing about the Witch Doctor is you can't really take each individual ability's damage too seriously, because what you have to do is consider how they work together. So if I use Grasp of the Dead combined with Poison Dart, I'm doing a decent amount of damage per second, especially since Grasp of the Dead is slowing them down and keeping them from me. So if I go over here, Grasp of the Dead, kind of hit each one with poison. You can see they actually died fairly quickly when I combine the abilities, but each ability by itself is not necessarily going to do a lot. Well, Poison Dart might, because that's the 100% weapon damage on impact plus 80. This is actually a fairly decent active combination. I really do like pets, but this is fairly early. Monsters die fairly quickly. And the dogs don't exactly do a lot right now because I don't have a very decent weapon yet. So this might be a better combination right now, a more interesting combination to play at least. Not bad. Stone Knife. Let's see, more damage. Go ahead and put that on. I can use my helm now because I did level. Let's get out of the way of the tree, put on my helmet. Very unorthodox gear that this class has. Alright, experience rings, experience belt. There we go.
Old Tristan, Diablo's evil lingers everywhere here.
One thing I like about creating alts, I enjoyed it in Warcraft and I enjoyed it in this game, is being able to get some hand-me-down gear to make playing the class interesting, more powerful at low levels, and kind of enjoy just tearing through the monsters. Yet another stone knife. This one is pretty much identical, so we're not going to worry about that. Good, we have a dark cellar over here. Considering I have a fairly slow attack speed with this, I mean, if I go ahead and do this, well, that's not too bad. As you can see, it will drain my mana if I'm not careful. Of course, my mana regen is fairly quick. Actually feels a lot like the Wizard's Arcane Power, with how fast it's kind of coming up right now. Arcane Power is still a little bit faster, because that one was, you know, a 100% mana pool that refreshed very quickly. Up, and we can see that I have gained mana. I'm at 400 now. Of course, I don't remember the cost. It's 69 now for Poison Dart. Let's see when we level if that cost goes up. Okay, its damage hasn't changed per level. Just want to make sure that was the same as well. So when you think about skills in Diablo 2, as you leveled up, you put points into them, they became more powerful. Oh, that was entirely unexpected. Let's try and get him through the grasping hands. There we go. I'm actually liking this combination a little more than I thought I would without the pets, so there's a fairly good synergy just in the overall poison and physical damage that they can do. Of course, you can see here that's what you're looking at here. You've got the physical realm of damage, the spiritual realm, and of course the command will be all the pets and different unique abilities you get for controlling the dead. So what I like so far is there's fairly diverse builds for each class, even with the few abilities you get here in the beta. And what we haven't even gone into is skill runes. There's so much customization that this game's going to have once those come into effect.
Thank you for your help, but could you talk some sense into Leah? She won't give up on the idea of rescuing her uncle.
Nor should she. I will help her find him. Come, let us search for your uncle.
We'll need to open the cathedral first. The guards locked it up before they were ambushed. Rumford told me they fought their way back to Adria's hut. The key must still be there.
Alright, let's just quickly empty our inventory.
Just my luck. My business is the only thing not rising from the dead in this town.
Here, let me open the gate. Adria was my mother, but I don't know much about her. She died when I was very young. I was raised by Uncle Deckard.
Did you know your father?
I'm told he was a great warrior who was lost when Tristram fell to the demons.
Alright, let's try and get that level so we can take a look here. We'll try to remember that that's 69. So we're at 400 mana and a 69 cost on the dart.
Look! A hidden cellar! Follow me!
This is a place of power. Your mother hid her secrets here.
People said she was a witch, but I never believed it.
Okay, I still got that 8-second delay here, so I can't grasp him just yet. There we go. Okay, so yes, the cost did go up to 73 mana, so your mana pool will be going up, but so will the cost of your abilities, which, without the abilities going up, so this is the interesting thing, and kind of a consequence of going to weapon damage. When they originally created the Wizard and the Witch Doctor, they were a lot like Diablo 2's skills, in which their weapon power, or their spell ability power, would go up as you leveled. But of course, they were in no way related to your weapon damage, so they had to scale purely based on level. Which meant once you hit level 60, your abilities were not getting any stronger except for, well, I was going to say intelligence gear, but then it was only plus damage gear for that particular class. So it's kind of interesting to see that the cost is still going to change, even though the effects are, you'll notice the effects are in green, like 100% weapon damage. That was to indicate that that could change, but weapon scalability, you know, is kind of a better way to do it, because then you can always scale with gear rather than worrying about your level. Let's get here. Shoes. What kind of shoes? I'll go pick up shoes. That's fine.
Here's the key, and my mother's journal. What I've seen of it is disturbing. I want to know more about her, but that can wait. We need to save Uncle Deckard first.
I will find Deckard, Kane. Stay here and study your mother's secrets. We may have need of them.
Thank you.
Aiden came to me last night. I suspected what was lurking within his troubled heart. I consoled him as best I could. Regardless, wherever he's headed, hell will surely follow in his wake. The shadows close in on Tristram once again. But like Aiden, I'll be gone before they fall.
Now what's interesting here is I noticed the mana gain is at 60 per second here, and I believe that's what it was when I started. I would have to go back and review that. But what we can do is look at that at the next level too, mana gain of 60. So my maximum mana may be going up, but my mana regen might not be. So I'm going to have what's going to end up happening is I'm going to have a deep pull, and my spells are going to start costing more. And I'll still be able to spam my spells, but I won't get that mana back as quickly. And that was kind of the gameplay technique that they talked about with mana versus arcane power. You will be able to have a deep pool, do a lot of spells, but you won't get that back as quickly. So you kind of, even though you can draw on a lot of power, you kind of have to be careful about exactly how much you use at once. New skill that we got here is Haunt. This is 44 mana. Spirit damages an enemy, moving on if the host dies. An enemy can be only affected by one haunt at a time. But what's nice about this is haunt an enemy with a spirit dealing 220% weapon damage is arcane over 4 seconds. If the target dies, the spirit will automatically haunt another nearby enemy. So very nice, 220% damage over 4. This is actually different than the tooltip. I was reading on the tooltips of these abilities on the Diablo website, and those are either maximum level or they are changed somehow. It's really hard to tell which one's going to be the most up to date because we don't have the most up to date build here. The haunt that they have on the calculator for Diablo 3 shows a 500% weapon damage over 15, which was kind of prepared to talk about that since even though 500% damage is a lot of damage, over 15 seconds is still a long time. But it looks like what they decided to do, which is kind of nice to talk about as well, is it looks like they decided they want to make sure that that damage is done in a quicker span of time, because 15 seconds is a long time in combat. So now it's only 4 seconds, which is decent, 220% weapon damage, fairly high. So the question is, do we want to keep the slow, or do we want to replace it with the dart, since it is more single target damage than dart? One thing that also has changed that I have noticed is during the beta, Haunt was only available to be put on 3 targets at any given time. So you could only cast it 3 times out there on a group of mobs, and then you could have no more until it ran out. Now there is that limit has been removed. So let's see. This is kind of hard to choose here. Monsters die fairly quickly, so what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to put Haunt on Grasp of the Dead. Give myself kind of a 1-2 combo punch. Haunt does not do upfront damage, it only does damage over time. And as you can see, I'm kind of killing some of these lesser mobs in one hit. So.
Another lost.
Let's take these guys out.
This is Tristram Cathedral. The fallen star lies within.
The cathedral.
Here is where the fire fell from the sky. Strange magic comes from below.
I do like the,
You die!
That's nice.
Your time is short. Too easy.
I do kind of like his mannerisms in his speech.
We thought we could keep the dead trapped here. Deckard, save me.
It's a very wise sound to him as well, you know, which I kind of like. So nothing is really lasting long enough through my poison dart to make me wonder if Haunt is going to be really something I want to use at this point. Let's at least get it out there on a couple enemies and see how quickly it works. And there you go, it's moved on to the next target, and as you can see, it nearly killed that first one. let's move on here. As you can see, his health, look at that, dropping very quickly due to the combination of poison and haunt. Just get a few haunts out there. Poisons will die, and of course you can only have one haunt effect at a time, so one of the haunts decided to leave. So you think you should call them a haunt? Is it a spirit? It does say spirit, doesn't it? Yeah, it is a spirit, so calling it a haunt is... what can I say? I'm used to calling things by their skill name. This is quite useful. I can see it being even in a group of smaller enemies, if you could get one of those out, or more than one of those out, and even though if you kill the group fairly quickly, it'll start moving on to the next target. So, as opposed to other bleed effects and things like that, even, well, I'll have to calculate how much it does per second, 20 over 4. But that's the beautiful thing, is even though it might not hit a group of enemies, or, you know, like Ren or something like that, it will jump on its own, and it will start doing damage, so you don't have to recast it for every single mob. We're looking at roughly, it looks like about 55% weapon damage per second there. I'm going to plug that in to make sure I wasn't incorrect about that. Kind of hard to do while I'm thinking about commentary and playing at the same time, do math in my head simultaneously. Didn't want to give you bad information. Oh, I wonder. Haunt. Okay, and much like the entangling shot of the Demon Hunter, it breaks a barrel, but it decided not to move on. Apparently barrels are not that interesting to haunt, and the spirit did not want to be in more than one at a time. You can see there it is, kind of jumping around as I kill. Go ahead and get some more out there. Oh, die already.
Your death comes.
I already have a mass, so nothing to do with that. There we go, 1 to 2 damage and additional health, life from health globes. No, I prefer the magic find, although you'll notice that the health globe apparently has a higher value to it than the magic find, as this one sells for 22 gold, whereas my magic find sells for 17. Of course, part of that could be the durability too. This one has higher durability, which means it probably has a higher item level. You know, I don't know how I would feel if they decided to turn on item levels for this game like they did with World of Warcraft. I suppose since this game is not quite like a hardcore raiding game like Warcraft, where people are going to be really concerned what your item level is, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have it turned on just so you could know. That's kind of the problem with Warcraft, is people can start restricting you based on your item level, which I can kind of understand. If you want a quick and easy run in Warcraft, people are going to want people that are semi-geared. Of course, the only problem is that item level, gear level, or gear score as it was called back when that mod was popular, doesn't equate to skill. I have seen some people with some amazing gear do some, shall we say, less than stellar damage, or tanking, healing, standing in fires. Yeah, you know the type. If you've played WoW, I'm sure you've been there. Hunt out there, and a few more targets. Okay, let's take a look real fast. If we equate taunt to being about 55 damage per second, Alright, 225 over 4. Well, has that gone up? Okay, well, it's still about 56. Let's Grasp of the Dead. That's 56 per second. So, truthfully, Grasp of the Dead and Haunt right now are very close on their damages. I'm gonna probably double check all my math and all that once I'm not recording, because I don't want to sit here and just be calculating out numbers while you're watching me do it. That obviously is not fun. Let's look at the new ability I got. Also, I wanted to double check the resources since we were talking about that. I have 500 maximum mana now, and I still have 60 regenerator per second, so it looks like my regen is not going to improve. So that will probably come with gear. You're more than likely, I mean, they're not going to leave you with just not getting any mana back, especially since you can see this costs 76 now. And that means I can only cast it less than once a second. So I'm sure that will, oh, here we go. 1 or 2 damage. Increases mana regeneration by 2. Not something I really need right now, but that's just what I was talking about. Later gear will probably supplement your regen to help you out in that regard. So did I have any experience gear on me that I could use? Apparently not. Alright, what skill did we get here? We got the Zombie Charger. Reckless Zombie charges forth, damaging enemies in its way. Call forth a reckless suicidal zombie that deals 140% weapon damage as poison. So direct hit 140, less than poison dart, which is 180, but you don't have to wait for the 2 seconds. So a decent one hit. Costs 98 mana. So not too bad. What I might do is replace poison dart with the Zombie Charger. And what I am thinking about is, since Haunt and Grasp are fairly close, Grasp instantly does it over an area for me, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on now instead, because that seems like the better ability to be using right now. Very well could be that these abilities will improve themselves over time. Zombie Charger on there.
Needs more time.
Okay, well, looks like I'm just going to have to go through with my dagger, which he won't actually use. That's strange. Other classes would attack when he couldn't use that resource. Let's just... Oh, there we go. See, and there's another reason why it's slightly, well, I wouldn't say, better, but comparable to my poison dart. Is, as you can see, it goes in a straight line. It's going to hit multiple enemies kind of in a row there. That's very nice indeed. Short range, obviously, but that's not a bad range. Let's see if it'll go... No, not quite. Combine that, though, with Grasp of the Dead. I can slow them down and just spam the enemies. Of course, it helps if I put Grasp in a location where he's actually going to get hit by it.
Need more time.
Nothing like tearing through a group of enemies with a zombie of your own.